Picture this. You're sitting in a cafe, enjoying a cup of coffee. Across from you, a well-dressed man sits quietly, sipping his drink. He looks like any other person in the room. But here's the twist: this man is a multi-millionaire, a business mogul who owns half the city. Yet he's dressed in what looks like a thrift store find, a faded hoodie, and worn-out sneakers. Why would someone with so much wealth choose to appear so ordinary? Why do the rich love pretending to be poor, and why is this something you should avoid doing yourself? Sounds like a paradox, right? But this is a game many of the wealthiest people play, and it's one they master. But why do they do it, and why should you avoid this temptation? Let's dive into the psychology behind this strange phenomenon, and why it's not as glamorous as it might seem. The hidden power of simplicity. The first thing you need to understand is the illusion the rich are creating. You see, it's not about the clothes or the cars. It's about controlling how others perceive them. The wealthy understand one fundamental truth: perception is power. They know that in a world obsessed with materialism, appearing modest, humble, or even struggling makes them more relatable. It gives them an edge, a unique position that others don't have. Think about it. People are drawn to the story of the underdog, the one who's been through struggles, the one who overcame adversity. So, when the ultra-wealthy dress down, they're telling a different story, a story where money doesn't define them. It allows them to create mystery, to keep their cards close to their chest. They want to be seen as someone who doesn't flaunt wealth, someone who doesn't need validation. The trap you should avoid. Here's the thing: this strategy might work for them, but if you try to follow in their footsteps, you're setting yourself up for failure. You might think that pretending to be less than you are will make people like you more. But in reality, it's a mask that hides your true value, your potential, and your achievements. The real danger in pretending to be poor is that you start to believe the story you're telling. You convince yourself that you have to act small, that you can't show your true worth because others might judge you. But here's the catch: the world doesn't need more people hiding their light. If you're successful, if you've worked hard for your achievements, you should never feel ashamed of them. In fact, you should celebrate them. The moment you start downplaying your success, you start telling the universe that you don't deserve the recognition, the wealth, or the opportunities you've earned. And that's dangerous. It's a slippery slope into self-doubt, insecurity, and ultimately stagnation. The wealthy play the game. You shouldn't. The rich pretend to be poor, for a reason. They understand the rules of the game better than most. But let me tell you something. This game is rigged. They know how to manipulate perception. They know how to get what they want while staying under the radar. For them, it's a strategy. For you, it's a trap. We often see these successful people acting humble, driving old cars, wearing simple clothes. And you might think, if they can do it, why can't I? But here's the hard truth. Their wealth and status allow them to play this game. They can afford to hide in plain sight. You, on the other hand, are not at that level yet. Pretending to be poor when you're not just creates a false narrative that doesn't serve you. It stops you from moving forward because it's built on deception, not authenticity. The power of being authentic. When you pretend to be poor, you're missing out on something critical: authenticity. The people who succeed in life are the ones who own their journey. They don't hide their success. They don't pretend to be someone they're not. They walk into a room with their head held high, knowing they've earned every step. By trying to be like the rich, pretending to live a life of struggle, you begin to deny yourself the chance to fully embrace your potential. What would happen if you stopped hiding your success and started owning it instead? The key is to be authentic, to embrace your success without arrogance, but also without self-doubt. You don't have to brag about it, but you don't have to hide it either. You should feel proud of how far you've come. Lessons to learn from the rich, and why you don't need to pretend. So, what can you learn from the wealthy, without falling into the trap of pretending to be poor? It's all about strategic humility. The rich aren't afraid to let their actions speak for them. They don't need to show off their wealth to feel valuable. They're secure in their position, and that confidence allows them to blend in with the crowd. They don't flaunt their wealth, but they don't hide it either. You can take that lesson and apply it to your own life. Focus on humility in your actions. Let your work, your character, and your passion define you, not the clothes you wear or the car you drive. The most important thing is that you stay true to yourself, and never let anyone make you feel like you need to downplay your success. Conclusion: own your success. In conclusion, the rich love pretending to be poor, because it allows them to control the narrative. It makes them appear more relatable, more humble, and less threatening. But you don't need to play that game. Own your success, wear it proudly, and never hide what you've achieved. You don't have to pretend to be poor to gain respect, to fit in, or to be liked. The people who will truly appreciate you are the ones who recognize the value in authenticity, in self-respect, and in unapologetic success. So, don't hide behind a false image. Be proud of what you've accomplished, and let the world see the real you. Let's start with a question that'll make you think. Why would someone who has everything pretend they have nothing? Why would a millionaire choose to wear the same clothes as someone struggling to make ends meet? Why do we often see the ultra-wealthy dressing down, driving modest cars, or living in simple homes despite the fact that they could have any luxury on the planet? It's a strange paradox, isn't it? The rich, the powerful, the successful, those who have built empires sometimes go to great lengths to make themselves appear ordinary. Now, before you start thinking it's some kind of humble show, think again. There's a deeper reason behind it. And the truth is, while this tactic works for them, it could actually be dangerous for you. So, what's really going on here? Why do the rich love pretending to be poor? And why is it a game you shouldn't play? Let's dive in. The art of disguised wealth. The rich are masters of disguise. They know that the world's perception is everything. Money, power, and influence are supposed to make you stand out. Right? Wrong. The wealthiest people in the world understand that standing out is not always a good thing. When you're too flashy, you attract attention, not just admiration, but envy, distrust, and resentment. So, they choose to blend in instead. They adopt the modesty of a middle-class person, don't flaunt wealth, and make their financial success seem like an afterthought. This disguised wealth is not about showing how humble they are. It's not about modesty as many might think. It's a strategy, a clever way to keep people from looking too closely at their power. They know that when you appear poor or struggling, people tend to underestimate you. They don't realize that you're actually someone with immense resources behind you. It's a form of power that is invisible, subtle, and often more dangerous than flaunting wealth. The less people know about your wealth, the less they can target or judge you. You get to keep your freedom and your privacy, while controlling how people perceive you. This, my friends, is power disguised as poverty. The illusion of down-to-earth appeal. But here's the catch. For the rest of us, pretending to be poor is a dangerous game, because it creates an illusion that we don't deserve what we have. When you try to dress down, act humble, or deny your success to fit in with others, you're not living in reality. You're living in a fantasy. You start to convince yourself that your achievements aren't important, that somehow, you don't deserve the success you've worked so hard for. It's easy to get caught up in society's obsession with being down to earth. We see celebrities and successful entrepreneurs acting like they don't care about money, living modestly, driving humble cars, and it's easy to fall for the narrative. We think that if they can do it, why can't we? We think that by doing the same, we'll be more accepted, more loved, or more admired. But here's the thing, this is a game for the rich, not for... The reality is, pretending to be poor when you're not robs you of your true potential. You hide your value. You undermine your success. It prevents you from stepping into your full power, because you're constantly dimming your own light to fit into someone else's idea of what success should look like. The hidden dangers of false modesty. Let's get real for a moment. When you start pretending to be poor, what are you really saying? You're saying, I'm not worthy of my success. You're saying, my hard work, my dedication, my struggles don't matter. You're denying the very journey that got you to where you are today. Why? Because you're afraid of being judged, afraid of being seen as arrogant or too flashy. But here's something you need to understand. The most successful people in the world are confident about their success. They don't hide it. They understand that true humility isn't about diminishing your accomplishments. It's about using your success to do something good, to make a difference, and to help others. So when you try to downplay your success, you're sending the wrong message to the world. You're teaching others that success is something to hide, something to be ashamed of. But true success doesn't need to hide. It should be celebrated and used as a tool to inspire and uplift others. By pretending to downplay your success, you're sending a subtle yet powerful message to the world that achieving greatness is something to be ashamed of, something that should be kept in the shadows. You're teaching others that it's better to hide your achievements, to pretend you're not good enough, rather than stand tall and embrace the hard work and sacrifices that got you there. But here's the truth. True success doesn't need to be hidden. It should be celebrated. It should be shared. And it should be used to inspire others to aim higher, to work harder, and to believe in their own potential. The more you embrace your success, the more you allow others to see what's possible when they push through their own challenges and aim for greatness. So, the next time you find yourself tempted to hide your success, remember this. Success is not a burden. It's a blessing. It's a reflection of your effort, your growth, and your ability to overcome obstacles. Don't let fear or societal pressures make you shrink back from it. Stand tall. Celebrate your achievements, no matter how big or small. Let your success be a beacon for others, showing them that greatness is not something to be ashamed of, but something to aspire to. Embrace who you are, own what you've achieved, and let the world see the full brilliance of your journey. Because when you own your success, you empower not just yourself, but everyone around you.